Yes, indeed, he's here. Jeremy Paxman of St Catherine's College, Cambridge, question master of University Challenge, and for 25 years Inquisitor General on the BBC's Newsnight programme. He's also the author of a book that some have described as witty and frank, his memoir of 4 decades in front of the camera called A Life in Questions. Welcome to you.
Who are these some who've made this accusation?
Well, I think they're the reviewers.
Ah, very good.
Yeah, a lot of other reviewers said that you avoided the questions, or the serious questions about Jeremy
Well, you do your worst, then, is all I say to you.
OK. Well, I want to ask you, first of all, not about yourself, but about America. You were out there for Panorama, you did a documentary. What did you make of Donald Trump's victory?
Like everyone else, I was at that thing. Were you there at the American Embassy on Tuesday night?
No, I was in America.
Well, I'm afraid I was, and I made the mistake of wandering around at 1 o'clock in the morning saying, believe me, Hillary's going to win. And I was made to look extremely foolish. So I was as surprised as anybody else. But you'd have to accept that Hillary was the most awful candidate, wasn't she? She was absolutely useless. She may have been qualified.
She did quite well in the debates.
Yeah, she may have been qualified, but that wasn't the point. She failed to give any sense. Don't you think if you're a political candidate, you must give a sense of what the country will be like if you're elected? And she failed to do that. She failed to give any sense of purpose and future and bright sunlit uplands and all the other cliches. She never did that. And I think that's why she lost. Trump did manage to do something of that.
Yeah, I mean, it struck me that
America
that was...
great again.
I mean, I do think there are quite a lot of similarities with the mood for Trump and the mood for Brexit. And it struck me that...
Well, except one's for free trade and one's for not.
Well, no, not in the detail, but in terms of the public response to them.
Yeah,
And it was because the more positive version, if you like, of throwing it all out was expressed by the winning side, and the losing side were critical of the status quo, which they should have been making a positive case for.
Well, that is a point, yes.
You would agree with that?
Well, I've forgotten what the point was now. It was a very long question.
Now, OK. One of your conclusions writing your memoirs and looking back on your career in journalism is that you think it's all been a bit of a waste of time. Is that right?
Well, I don't think the whole thing was a waste of time. No, that is not right at all. Have you read the book?
Yeah, I have, yeah. But you're very critical of the news business.
I am critical of the news business, and I don't say it's been a waste of time. I fully accept that it's important. My argument is that people are endlessly assailed with the news, and you have to ask yourself, does it make any difference? I'm sorry, I know this cuts to the core of 24-hour news stations, but does it make any difference whether we know something now or in an hour's time or 2 hours' time or 3 hours' time? Particularly since in the vast majority of cases we can do nothing about it. News of a traffic jam...
That sounds like they're not satisfied with that answer.
It does, yes. Well, who's they?
The producers, you know, the people...
Well, where are they? Get them in here and let's ask them.
Well, but it does make a difference, doesn't it? Because you inform people about what's going on and they can
So what?
Or they can take...
My argument is, do we need to know it so insistently, so urgently? In a lot of news studios now, they make people like you, or me, stand up to deliver the news. Why? What's the point? Why?
Well, if you sit for too long, you get piles. That's one reason.
Speak for yourself. I'm sorry to hear that, Adam.
No, but isn't there... I mean, what's wrong with standing up to do
Because it gives a false sense of urgency. And most of this stuff is not urgent. It's urgent that you know about whether your train has been cancelled or whether to avoid a traffic jam or something. But actually, you don't need to know most of this stuff in the frenetic way in which it's imparted to you. So I don't say it's a waste of time. I think it's important. And I really strongly, passionately believe in holding powerful vested interests to account, yes. Mm-hmm. But I do think the general maelstrom of news is something that we need to cast a cold eye upon.
You, as an interviewer, you didn't originate the phrase, but you've long been associated with "why is this lying bastard lying with me" is what you have in your mind. Is that what you had in your mind when you're interviewing politicians and others?
No, I mean, some clown once asked me what the principle ought to be, and I happened to have been reading the memoirs of Louis Heron, the deputy editor of the Times. as he became. And he was asked on his very first job, he'd been making the tea, and he was given a job finally as a reporter to go out and ask someone a question, and some gnarled old hack in the reporter's room said to him, just ask yourself, why is this lying bastard lying to me? And I think it's a pretty sound principle, yes.
Yeah, I mean, because Andrew Marr quoted in your book here, A Life in Questions, he says, Paxman looks disdainful and contemptuous and furious with his guests because, by and large, he is. Is that true?
Well, I don't know. Andrew Marr can say what he likes, poor chap.
No, but he's saying that about you,
He also described me as genuinely angry and tortured.
Yeah, and disdainful and contemptuous of your guests.
Well, I'm not disdainful and contemptuous of my guests. Any more than you are.
You're not?
No.
OK. Just your interviewers.
No, I think I'm interested in what they have to say, but I'm disdainful of having bollocks talked to me. Yes, of course. But I'm not. So, no, I'm not disdainful of all of them. The exercise is really very simple, I think. You must find this too. The best questions are the very simple questions. There are those questions about the simple interrogatives, where, when, why, how. Those are the best questions.
I quite agree.
And they may teach you something. The successful interview, I think, is one in which you learn something. And if you don't learn something because you're being just generally waffled at, then I think you are entitled to feel fed up.
Yeah.
But, Andrew Marr can say what he likes. He's not the fount of all wisdom, any more than Piers Morgan.
Well, he may be Piers Morgan may be linked to Donald Trump.
I suppose so, yes.
Yes,
he claims he's a friend of his.
Jeremy Paxman, we will have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. Was that it? That was very quick, wasn't it?
It was. Well, it's because you're so fluent.
Do they pay you for this?
They do, indeed.